Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Satish Kumar, and I'm a husband, a cloud engineer, DevOps engineer, cloud security engineer, and security analyst. Today we are going to discuss on how to authenticate your GitHub actions with your cloud, like AWS, GCP, or Azure. So nowadays, we shouldn't create any secrets inside your cloud where you want to authenticate with the external third party. So today we will take it example as a GitHub. So even nowadays, everyone is creating access key secret key from AWS and .json file from GCP, which consists of secrets, and even from Azure you will download the client secret, subscription ID, client ID, and tenant ID, and much more. Where if the secrets are compromised, um, we can't imagine what's going to happen. So in order to fix that, every cloud will give a native service which is called as workload identity federation. In AWS it's called as identity provider, in GCP it is called as workload identity federation, and in Azure also it is called as workload identity federation. It's my favorite topic. So let's deep dive into this. Let's start the session. Hey guys, welcome back. Let's start this session. Before we dive into that, let me tell you one thing. I recently have published one article in Medium, authentication between GitHub actions and your AWS using the identity provider. Once again, I'm stressing out, like, no need to create secrets like AWS, access key, secret key to authenticate with your GitHub and AWS. So why we shouldn't create secrets? Let's imagine if your secrets are exposed, or it's leaked, or it's compromised, or some outsider will come inside your environment. Just you can't even imagine what's going to happen if your secrets are exposed or leaked. So, so in order to fix this, let's go securely, like temporary credentials, where the identity provider, that is one of the native service from AWS, which is going to generate a session token, a temporary credentials to communicate with GitHub, and then where GitHub can communicate with AWS to run the pipelines. So let's check it out. So this is the website that I told you that it's about medium.com. So as I told you that no need to create any access key, secret key to authenticate with your GitHub. So what we need AWS account and a GitHub account. So in GitHub account, let's create one repository, and then we will start authenticating with AWS and GitHub. So let's go into IAM. So identity access management, it's one of the service in AWS. So let's go to here you see identity providers. Just click on there, click on add provider here. So we need to select OpenID Connect, and we need to provide the URL of GitHub. So just let's go to this Medium website again. Just copy this, go to your IAM and paste it here, and just click on get thumbprint and come down, and in audience you have to provide sts.amazonaws.com. So just provide this in audience and click on add provider. So the provider is created. Now we have to create an IAM role, where that IAM role will be attached with the policy. That policy will have certain services where our GitHub is going to communicate to run the pipelines. But in this session, I'm going to give the administrator policy, but make sure that if it's come to production, don't try to give administrator access So just give the least privilege policies, create accordingly as per your requirement. So let me go to this website again, and so now create a policy with necessary permissions. As you can see here, I mentioned, note, create a least privilege policy with only required services. Don't attach administrator access permission. Create a role. Let me go to role session. Here, I already created a one role for this. So only thing is just click on create role. Select AWS service and select EC2. Just click on next. So here it's asking for the policies. You can just simply search for administrator. So here you can search for, here it is, administrator access. You can just select this and come down and click on next and just give any name and just scroll down and just click on create role. I already created role, so I don't want to create the role again. So let me go to that role which I created before. That role is test pipelines. So here it is, my role. It is attached with the administrator access. Now we have to create a trust relationship policy. This policy where you can just get it from the the link which I'm going to share in the below, where you can check it out for the the policy from the Medium website. My article. So you can just copy paste the exact policy here. But one thing you have to remember, you have to edit one part which is let me remove this. Where you are going to add your repository here. So I just gave the name like this, but here you have to give your repository name where the repository is going to communicate with your AWS account. So here simply I can say that that we are giving permissions to your repository to communicate with your AWS account. So let's go to GitHub and let's close. This repository is going to communicate with my AWS account. So in this repository you can create a Terraform code or Packer code or Ansible code where the services wants to communicate, and where if you want to deploy any services in your AWS environment. Okay, so let's go there. My repository name is workload. So I'm going to just copy this, come here and just go to here, replace the name which I gave as a repo, and so paste it as your GitHub account. And now we are going to here we have to leave it as a repo. I have to give it here, my bad. So here the repo which is workload. So I gave this star. It means like inside the workload repository, whatever folders, modules, files that is going to communicate with your AWS account. So yeah, I'm just giving a star. If you want to give only particular folder that wants to communicate with your AWS account, just mention the folder name there. Okay, everything is okay. Let me try to update policy. It shouldn't give any error. Okay, cool. So now let's check the repository. Okay, all good. So now what next? So I created here is the policy where you can copy it from here. So once you scroll down, you can just check the basic workflow that you are going to add it in your actions, GitHub Actions workflow. You can just copy this and go to your GitHub and go to Actions. Just click on Simple Workflow, click on Configure. You can just replace this like this, and if you want to give some name, I'm going to give workload.aml. So here I need to replace some variables like role to assume. So I'm going to give the role ARN. This is the role ARN where you can see once you click on your role where you created an AWS account. So you can just check it out for the ARN here and just go to your AML file and just replace this with your role ARN. And all good. Let's test it out. Let's commit this new file. Go to Actions. This is the workflow file that we created. Just click on Run Workflow and click on Run Workflow. Let's see. So here what's happening is GitHub is trying to communicate with AWS with short-term credentials, like short-lived credentials, where it's like a dynamic credentials. So it will generate for certain limited time, like where even you can't see the credentials. So that credentials, like it's like a two-way handshake. Like the GitHub will communicate with AWS, and AWS will say, hey, hi, yeah, I see that you are in one of my trust relationship policy in the one of the role where I see your repository is going to communicate with me. Okay, let's I will give you the permission with the identity provider which we created. So it will generate the short-term credentials, and it will send back to the GitHub, and the GitHub again it will say, hey, hi AWS, thanks for sharing the short-term credentials. Now I'm going to deploy the pipelines in your AWS environment. So how exactly the workload entity will work, that we will see in the next session. See here, the connection as established with the short-term credentials, and where, let's see, here it is. So it's showing like connecting with the AWS OIDC role, the role which we gave in the action workflow. And after that, it's going to run the STS get caller identity, and it is saying that this is the role and account. It is hidden because of security reasons. Even you can also check it in your GitHub pipeline. So once the communication has built and once the authentication has happened, so then you can deploy your code, either it's if you want to create any Terraform pipelines or Packer pipelines and any DevOps pipelines, anything which you want to communicate from GitHub to AWS, you can use this. No need to create any secrets. Once again, I'm telling you, please be careful with your secrets, where don't ever take it easy about that. If it's leaked, once it is leaked, you can't even imagine. As I told you before, we will discuss in coming days about AWS security also. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments, and please subscribe my channel and just follow for my updates, and follow in the Medium as well, so that you will be getting more notifications on my upcoming articles. Bye, take care.